Hey all, this is Aditya again, and we're back with another video in our vRealize automation tutorial series. In this tutorial, we will try to get you familiar with components of vRA. Try to remember their names and their uses, as this is going to be your bread and butter. Also, you really won't understand things later in the series if you don't. Your wish. So, to start it off, I want you to understand that the whole vRA infrastructure is made up of multiple components, which can be broadly divided into two parts, the appliance and the IES components. So let's get started with the appliance components first. Just to be clear, all these components are present and running on a single Linux appliance called the vRealize automation appliance or the virtual appliance. The appliance components mainly comprise of these five. The first one is the vRA portal. The second one is the VMware Identity Manager. The third one is the vRealize Orchestrator. The fourth one is the Postgres database. And last but not the least, the fifth one is the RabbitMQ service. So, first of all, let's talk about the vRA portal. When we log into the vRA portal, it is actually a website that we are logging into. So, this website needs to be hosted somewhere, which in this case is hosted on the Apache Tomcat server running on the vRA appliance. In simpler terms, it is the website that we access the vRA through. The second component inside the virtual appliance is the VIDM, or in its full glory called the VMware Identity Manager. It does exactly what its name says it does. That is, it manages identities. You can sync users and groups from different Active Directories, which significantly speeds up logins. Just a reminder that even after syncing the AD groups in VIDM, the authentication still takes place against the AD, although the searches are done against the local copy, so they are significantly faster. Now the third component is the vRealize Orchestrator. vRA provides a lot of out-of-the-box features. Think of it as a very capable guy with a very long reach. He can perform his tasks very well, but in order to perform certain customized tasks, such as climbing a very high wall, he will require customized tools like a ladder. vRO is the one that provides vRA with such extensibility so that it can perform customized tasks by executing custom workflows. So basically, vRO is the one that provided our guy with the ladder so that it can reach much more than what was initially possible. Fourth up, we have the vPostgreSQL database. Since it is a database, it must hold data, and that is exactly what it does. It holds data for all the other components in the vRealize automation appliance, like the vRA portal, the vRealize orchestrator, as well as the VMware Identity Manager. Now, the final component, which sometimes people skip while talking about vRA components, is the RabbitMQ service. In the appliance, there are multiple services running that are associated with vRealize automation. Now, these services need to interact with each other, and for that, they need a mechanism to communicate. That is what RabbitMQ does. It allows the vRealize automation services to communicate with each other while utilizing the advanced message queuing protocol to do so. Now, guys, we are done with the appliance part of vRA components. Now, let's start with the IES components. Okay, so while talking about IES component, just so that you know, there are seven of them. The first one is the IES web. The second one is the model manager. Then comes the manager service. Then we have the demo orchestrator, the dem worker, the proxy agent, and the IES database. So we are going to discuss all of them, but the first one that we are going to discuss is the IES database. Just like the vPostgres database holds data for the vRealize automation appliance components, the IES database holds data as well, but for the IES components. Next up, let's talk about the model manager. The model manager has two subcomponents, which are the model manager data and the model manager web. While installation of vRealize automation, we only install model manager data once. Now, what is the reason behind that? Since it contains all business logics and workflows, and as soon as we install it, it pushes all this business logic and workflows inside the IES database. We do not need to install it again and again, because then we would just be pushing redundant data and creating tables, the same table over and over again inside the IES database. We don't want that, do we? Next up, let's discuss the model manager web component. So we are going to install model manager web on all the web servers, unlike its data counterpart. And as soon as we install it, it starts three websites on the Internet Information Server. And the websites are the huapi, the vCAC, and the repository. Now, these websites are collectively called the IES website or the IES web. There, you know another component now. But now you should have guessed that these two IES components, that is the model manager and the IES web, run on the same machine called the IES web server. Yeah, you guessed it right. The IES web server has the model manager and the IES web running on it. And IES web is nothing but the website that were created by the model manager web. Okay, since we are on this topic, let us also discuss the purpose of the huapi, the vCAC, and the repository website. First up, we have the huapi. Okay, so the huapi website acts as the point of contact for all communication between the appliance and the IES components. That is, if appliance had to contact IES components, huapi is the one that it will contact. Similarly, all information from IES to appliance goes through huapi. The next website we have is the vCAC server. Now, to understand what vCAC server does, for that we need to understand what is happening in the vRA portal. Since the vRA portal is a website, it has multiple tabs inside it, like the home tab, the catalog tab, the design tab, the infrastructure tab, the administration tab. Out of these tabs, the infrastructure tab shows data coming from the infrastructure components. All this data in the infrastructure tab is provided by the vCAC website. So now you know what the vCAC website does. The final website that we have is the repository website. Now, it is the only website that is in communication with the IES database. It validates all the data coming from the vRA appliance, from all the requests that come from the vRA appliance. So now that we are done discussing the website, we now are going to discuss the fourth IES component, that is the manager service. The manager service has multiple roles, but we are just going to keep it very short and simple and make you understand what the manager service actually does. For beginners, it coordinates the communication between the IES components. Okay, so the next component is the dem worker. Think of dem worker as a laborer which executes the workflows assigned to it by the dem orchestrator. So that is the only task of the dem worker, is that it executes workflow whenever we are concerned with provisioning on a cloud-based endpoint or any of the day 2 operations. So let's discuss now the proxy agent. The proxy agent, on the other hand, is used to run workflows that are provisioning workflows on hypervisor-based endpoints. The final component in the IES section is the dem orchestrator. It schedules the workflows that are going to be executed by the dem workers. Other than that, it also pre-processes the workflows before they are executed by the dem worker. It has one other task, that is it keeps checking the status of the dem worker so that it knows whenever a dem worker goes down. So guys, now you know all the components and whatever the functions that it perform, but only the basics of them. We will dig into the deeper perspective of these components into later tutorials. But for now, that is all. So guys, see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.